शुरू कर सकते हैं।
पैचिंग।
तो मैं पहले स्क्रीन शेयर करके दिखाता हूँ। हमें कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो इम्प्लीमेंट करनी पड़ेंगी उसके बाद। अभी हम ऐसे पैचिंग नहीं कर सकते, उसके लिए हमें WSUS सर्वर चाहिए।
ओके।
ठीक है, तो मैं दिखाता हूँ क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है WSUS सर्वर की। स्क्रीन शेयर करता हूँ। WSUS करना पड़ेगा, उसको SCCM के साथ इंटीग्रेट करना पड़ेगा। तो उसमें जब स्क्रीन दिखे तो बताना मुझे। ठीक है, तो ये पैकेज हो गया, ये WSUS हो गया। सो अब अगर हम WSUS की बात करें ना, अगर स्टैंड लोन मतलब SCCM से पहले, जब SCCM भी नहीं था, तब ऐसे होता था कि एक WSUS सर्वर होता था। मल्टीपल भी हो सकते हैं, लेकिन जनरल सिनेरियो में एक WSUS सर्वर तो चाहिए था। ठीक है, अब जब WSUS भी नहीं था तब क्या होता था, हर मशीन या तो वह पैच करने के लिए सबको इंटरनेट पे ही जाना पड़ेगा अगर WSUS भी नहीं है तो। लेकिन वो अगर छोटा ऑफिस है और सिर्फ कुछ ही मशीन्स हैं तो उस केस में तो हो सकता है। लेकिन अगर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ मशीन है, राइट, एंड दे आर गोइंग टू चेक फॉर अपडेट ऑनलाइन on a single day, like on second Tuesday when everyone in the shift switch on their machine and all the machines all together they check for the update, so it can choke the bandwidth of the network, right? So this was the issue. So for that, what Microsoft did, they created this WSUS, Windows Server Update Services, which is a role on which we can enable a feature. I think it's a role. We can enable it on one of the server, and that server will be called as the WSUS server. And instead of every machine going to the Microsoft Cloud or Microsoft Update Services or Microsoft Update Catalog, this WSUS will go and it will sync the updates on behalf of these machines. So it will be like single machine going to the internet and getting the updates. After that, we will configure this WSUS and these machines with the GPU, so they will not go online. The GPU will instruct them to go to this WSUS and check for the patches. Okay, so they will be restricted by a GPU. There will be one GPU which we need to set in case of standalone WSUS. In case of SCCM, that will be automatically set by the SCCM. Okay, I will show you that GPU once the environment is ready. We can find that GPU. Group policy. You know about the group policies, right? Okay. So in case of standalone WSUS, the GPU is instructing all these machines not to go online and check for updates only with the WSUS, and we have to approve the updates, which update we want to publish, and then like in WSUS there are groups. In SCCM we have collections. In same way in WSUS we can create groups, and for those groups we can approve the updates. So it's just simple right click and approve the updates, and it will ask for a group and then assign the group. Okay. So that was the model when there was a single WSUS and few machines which need to connect for the patches. WSUS also has its own database where the all this information is stored. We call it the information about the updates. So it stores that information. Uh, there are two types actually: Windows internal database and SQL database. So Windows internal and SQL, like We have one for SCCM. In same way, WSUS can also have its database on SQL. It can also have a internal database which is on the server itself. We call it WID, which is Windows Internal Database. But generally, most of the organizations set this up on the SQL, but we can also set it up on the same server, which is, it will ask you once we try to configure, it will ask how you want to configure it. We want it as the Windows internal, or we want the database to be on SQL. So it will ask, we can check. If it asks for SQL, we need to put in the name of the SQL server. Then it will connect to that particular SQL server and it will configure the database. For internal, if we want on that particular server, it will use the Windows internal database. This database will store all the information about, uh, like this this information is generally, occupies more space if we, in case of this standalone, because it need to store the information about these machines, right? But in case of SCCM also, we need to configure. So how, this is how it is configured. We need to have a database for WSUS. Okay. However, it will not consume very large space, because machines are not managed by the WSUS. This WSUS will be integrated with the SCCM, and it will work in the backend. So once it is configured, unless and until there is no error, we do not have to touch the WSUS. Everything will be done from the SCCM. No, it won't. But machines will be checking for updates with the WSUS only. But with the no, yeah, with the help of GPU, but that GPU will be controlled by the SCCM. So everything is controlled by the SCCM. Even WSUS is also controlled by the SCCM. It will instruct when to check for the update, what to do. Okay, we just have to set this thing up and integrate it with the WSUS, and that's it. Job will be the same. It will go online. Machines will be checking with this WSUS for the updates. Only the information. The actual content will come from the SCCM DP. So there is difference now. There's a difference between a metadata and the actual update. Metadata is just the information about the update. We will discuss about this. Okay. So there are two terms: updates, metadata, and actual update, actual content. Okay, I will show you the difference. Hmm. Metadata is like machine at least know which updates I need, right? This machine have its own update history, right? Last month, whatever updates were installed on this machine has its own update history. That history, yeah, that history, it will compare it with WSUS if there is a new update or not. If there is a new update, that response will come to this machine that these are the new updates which are available for this particular machine, and those updates for the content, it will be downloaded from the SCCM. We'll complete that flow, but as of now, just understand that WSUS has its own internal database, and it can also with SQL. Okay, and WSUS will check. Voice is cracking. Mm, let me then drop the call once and join back again. Your voice is clear. Let me drop and join. Presenting my screen. Hmm. Your recording is on. Okay. So we were talking about the metadata and the actual content. So metadata is only the information. Actual content will come from the SECM. Okay. So now this will be the scenario with the SECM. So there will be one server which has SECM and the WSUS role, right? Then on SECM we will configure the software update point. Once this software update point is configured, it will join SECM and WSUS. It will integrate it together. Okay. Yes. Once we set up this software update point role, then WSUS will be integrated with SECM, and then we can manage the patches from SECM. Okay. Yes. So just to understand, we need a SECM server like we already have. What we need to do is we need to first set up the WSUS. Then we will on SECM we will configure this role software update point. Then it will integrate the WSUS with SECM, and then we can do the patching. Okay. So this will be the flow. Then this WSUS will go to Microsoft Update Catalog. It will sync the update. Then those updates will be synced with the SECM, right? But the machines will be checking for the updates with the WSUS, not with the SECM. But we need those updates on SECM because we are okay. So machines will check for update with WSUS only. But SECM, those updates from internet will be synced with WSUS, then WSUS will sync it with SECM. And then we will push it from the SECM to these machines. Okay. So you will understand this diagram once we do the practicals. So let's first the step is to configure this WSUS role. Okay. So let's go to SECM. You can share your screen. We will configure the WSUS and then we will integrate it with SECM. Go to server manager, add roles and features. Next. Yes. Yeah, same. Next. Now, Windows Server update services, add features. Next. So .NET everything we already configured. So nothing we need to configure here. You can click on next. So it is just giving some brief about the WSUS. Okay, next. Now it is asking about the rules to install the Windows Update services, and it is also asking about the WID connectivity, or we want to do the SQL connectivity for the database. It's a Windows internal database. Hmm. So we can do it either on the WID or we can do it on the SQL. If you select SQL, it will say that we can only select one. Uncheck WID and SQL. So now the description says they use SQL, but I would Microsoft prefer WID because it is much faster. Because it's internal, then it's faster, but organizations mostly prefer the SQL. Mm. We will go for WID. Hmm. Okay, because it will not ask for the instance and anything. It will just configure it automatically. So we will go for WID. Oh, now we need to create one folder where the metadata will be stored. It says store updates in the following location. So you can create one folder in uh, the C drive, name it as the WSUS content or simply the WSUS. Yeah. Copy its path and paste. Okay, next. Okay, now install. Yeah. So I'll show you how machine compares it, how the machine where machine store its history of updates. Okay, so that will be some individual machines. By the I think it won't take some time. Let's focus on this thing first. But we will check that the difference between the metadata and the actual updates. And there are types of updates also. We will cover that. Security updates, cumulative updates. So there is a simple blog from Microsoft also. Types of updates are there, like Defender updates, security, cumulative, feature updates. Yeah, feature update means that is for Office. Long term channel and short term channel, that is for that terms are used in Office updates. For Windows updates, it is feature update, quality update, Defender, security, cumulative. Feature updates are for, like, we want to upgrade the version from 20H2 to 22H2, 23H2. We can do with the feature update, we can do from Windows 10 to Windows 11 also. Okay. Cumulative are the bundled update. They have certain fixes, vulnerabilities they fix. Like when machine is vulnerable for any kind of update, that cumulative update have a fix for that particular thing. Okay, so you can close it. Now flag, there is a flag, right? Launch this post installation task. So post installation task is it will configure the virtual directories on IIS and it will configure its database. Is it launched? Click on that again. Yeah. One log is also created for it. If you go to temp, there will be one post configuration log will be created. If it fails, sometimes it fails, so we can check why is it failing. If it succeeds, run temp. Go go back to in this temp WSUS post install. So what post install task is doing, everything will populate here. So right now it says change database context to SysDB. So it is creating something. And if it fails, then we have to check why is it failing. It will give the error. So in the post install task, main steps are that it will configure its virtual directories like we have for management point and distribution point. There are few virtual directories, right? Same way, we will have some virtual directories for this WSUS, and machines will be connecting to those virtual directories for the updates. It says post install completed, right? So there was no error and it got completed. So if you go to IIS now, in my organization we created two sites actually. So SCCM admins also can create it. But generally architects or leads or consultants, they do these things. But in our environment we also created sites. So go to IIS, you will be able to find these virtual directories. Administrative tools, start, or you can click on tools there also. You can go administrate. Last one, Windows Server Update Services. Okay, so it is asking to configure it. We will not configure it. If it is a standalone, then we have to do all these configuration, right? But as now this whole thing will be managed by the WSUS, sorry, SCCM. So we are not configured. Just cancel it. Sorry, we do not have to open this WSUS as of now. We will open the IIS. So go to tools, open Internet Information Services. WSUS administration. Yeah. So these are all the WSUS virtual directories. Every virtual directory has its own purpose. Okay. So the content is the folder that we created. If you browse it, right click browse, it will take you to the same folder that we created. Explore. So same WSUS content folder it took us, so that machines can check that particular content. Okay. So first there is a client web service, right? So machines will be connecting to this client web service, and client web service have some web config files. Okay, so if you right click and explore, so these are this web.config file, right? So these, if these files get corrupt, SCCM clients will not be able to check for the update. So basically client will be connecting to client web service first. Same case for the servers will be connecting to server sync web service. Close that folder. Then there is a server sync. So yeah, servers will be connecting to this particular web service. Okay. Then there is first one API reporting 30, which is for the for the console connectivity. Okay. Then inventory is not used because SCCM WSUS is not managing the machines. Simple auth web service just authorize the client if it is authorized to connect or not. The main thing now is the okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. So now just to check the ports on the right, it says browse on 8530 and 8531, right? And in the bracket it says 8530 is HTTP and 8531 on the right. Hmm. So 8530 is HTTP and HTTPS is 8531. So if we have PKI infrastructure, public key infrastructure in the environment, then we can use 8531. But without PKI, we have to use 8530. This is for the WSUS communication. If you go to default and click on virtual directories for this TP and MP, there will be 80 and 443. Default website on the left. Click on this CCM client. Just click on it. Just yeah. Here ports are 80 and 443. On the right, if you check the ports, virtual directory for the SCCM for the clients, for the MP. So machines communicate through these virtual directories with MP. Yeah. M- SMS underscore MP is the virtual directory where machines connect. Okay. Similarly, it happens with the WSUS. They connect on these virtual directories. Okay. So if there is any issue with any of the virtual directory, then communication will be impacted. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there are scenarios. We will cover it once we cover the client communication DPMP. Then we will cover it. Okay. How we can fix it? How to browse it? What are the general issues? Microsoft have one blog. So permissions needed on the virtual directories, required permissions, minimum permissions which are needed for these virtual directories to work. All these things we will cover. Okay, but as of now, just to show you the difference between the ports, I'm showing this http 80443 https for mpdp, 8530 8531 https for WSUS. Yeah, it can be asked like what are the ports. They can ask what are the ports you need to open for the communication, client communication or machine. Or they can ask what are the ports used by the WSOS. So for MPDP, for WSOS it will be 8530 and 8531 HTTPS. Okay, so this is how machines will communicate. Now we have this WSOS, right? So we have to now integrate it with SCCM, right? So now we go to SCCM and we have to, you can close this IIS console. Now we have to add one rule. So go to administration tab, then site configuration, site servers and site rules. Okay, right click, add site system rules. Okay, next. So there is no proxy in the environment. Proxy is a server which filters the traffic. So next, then we have to choose the rule, which rule we want. So in this case, we want a software update point. Yeah. If you read the description, it says software update point integrates with WSUS to provide software updates to configuration manager clients. Okay. So that's why we are integrating it next. Now you remember that wizard was opened once we opened that WSUS console, right? But we closed it. We did not configure that particular things because we are configuring it from now from the SCCM. These were the same kind of similar option. Yeah, we can configure it in case of standalone, but in case of WSUS, in case of SCCM integration, we will do it from here. Okay, so it asking for port number, SSL port, and 8530. We are not using any custom port. We are using the same port, so we can say next. That is for client connection if we want to allow the CMG like machines from the internet. If they have CMG internet based machines are there, then we have to choose this option, make it SSL, and then implement complete CMG. We will cover it once we discuss the CMG part, but as of now it will be internet only. We are using the same credentials everywhere, so nothing different. There's no different credential here. So the synchronized source will be Microsoft Update. So what happens in case of CAS primaries? There can be a hierarchy of WSOS also, upstream and downstream. Like in SCCM, we have CAS and primaries. Like so in case of this WSOS, there are upstream and downstream. So upstream will go to internet. It will bring all the updates. Then it will sync with its downstream servers. So like for example, you have one CAS and there are two primaries. So the WSUS on the CAS will go to internet, bring out the updates, and it will sync those updates with the WSUS in the downstream. Okay, so I can share you some blogs, or I will show you this environment I do not have, because in case of this will be possible in case of CAS and primaries only. CAS will have its own WSUS which will sync the updates from the internet. Then it will sync that information with its primaries and the downstream servers. There are types of WSUS servers. Like for example, you are managing. There is no SCCM, for example. There is only one for W. We are doing patching with the WSUS only. Right now, we have one site in, you can say, in Europe. There is one site which is the upstream, which will go to internet and get the updates. Okay, Europe WSUS. Now that Europe WSUS will sync the updates with its downstream servers. Okay, with like similar offices are there, local offices are there, which are connected through a WAN. Okay, so that particular WSO server will, the upstream server will get the updates, and it will sync with downstream servers. So downstream servers will not go to internet, they will get those updates from the upstream. This is just to maintain a consistency, because the admin is approving on the top stream upstream, right? And if we set up three upstream servers, then there can be discrepancy, like some admins are choosing different updates, but whatever we are choosing on the upstream, that will be replicated to the downstream and it will maintain the consistency. Okay. Yes, yeah, only one upstream will be there. In case of CAS primaries, the one with a CAS, it will be a upstream and other will be a downstream service. Okay, but in case of standalone, there will be one only. So that's why it is asking synchronize from upstream data source. Now, if this particular is a primary and there is a cache server also, then you will choose this second option. Okay, and then you will mention the name of your cache WSUS server. So this primary will sync the updates from the cache WSUS, not from the internet. Cache will sync from internet. Yeah, sync will take some time. Right. It will take some. Not a latency, but sync takes time. I have seen that. Like my previous environment used to have three primaries, one cache. So first cache used to sync, then primaries used to sync with the cache. So it takes time, and there will be upstream, downstream WSUS. So they also sync. Then once the WSUS sync, then those WSUS they sync with their primaries. So we will select from Microsoft. We are doing it from the Microsoft only. I will show you some blog on that if you have any confusion. Okay. This is for reporting, but that is okay. We will all generate the reports from SCCM, so not needed. Next. This is the synchronized schedule when you want to enable the synchronization. Every 7 day, every day, or because as we already know, patches are released on second Tuesday, but Defender patches comes every day. So if we are managing the Defender security patches, I think within every 24-hour Defender patches are getting released. So for Defender patches, you can run this every day. if you are managing it. Second Tuesday. Office is also on a second Tuesday. No, these are the only updates. Hmm, just a minute. One of the blogs says the Defender patches once in a month, but Defender, there are two patches actually, I think, in Defender also. Intelligence update, they come 24 hour, but the version which upgrades the Defender itself, it comes once in a month. Let me check Defender intelligence update. Intelligence updates and are released on a monthly basis. It says monthly, but Defender used to do it every day, every 24 hours. There are intelligence update and signature updates. Security intelligence and signature update. Defender signature updates are also there. Mostly these are very, I mean, very lightweight updates, so it can be allowed to do from the internet as well. Yeah, in our environment also security team is handling this. Earlier we used to do it, but now earlier we used to just push the patches. Security team just used to pull the report if the defender is out of date on any of the machine or not. But now they are defender is under security, so they are doing it. They are using some of their method and it is done online, so we are not managing it. So maybe it is now changed, but we used to do it for defender. We used to make it every day. Security patches used to be there, but I will check it if there is any information on that. So let's go back and complete that to SECM. Okay, we will not, no, we will do the synchronization ourselves, so you can just leave it as it is. These settings can be changed anytime, so that's okay. Now, supersedence and behavior for other than feature update and supersedence behavior for feature updates. Like supersedence means new updates. The one update which is old, it gets superseded with a new update. Right? Like the application, new application gets superseded by the old one. And same way, updates also get updated, and the old updates are superseded by the new one. So we have to expire them, otherwise they will be taking some space, right? So they will be get expired, then those expired updates will be cleaned. So you can choose after how many days you want to mark these superseded old updates as the expired update. Okay, so we will default to use it 6 days, so it is okay. Now next. So after 6 days, superseded updates will be declared as the expired updates, and then those expired updates will be removed. So if you choose that option, remove obsolete updates, decline expired updates in WSUS, they will be cleaned after that. So this is that decline and approve is from the WSUS. Actually, on the WSUS console, we can mark the updates as approve or decline. So this is the WSUS term actually. Once that particular WSUS update is declined, then it can be cleaned. There is a wizard, WSUS maintenance wizard, which we run just for the maintenance of the WSUS. I will show you that thing. Add non-cluster indexes to the WSUS database. This is something database index. There is an indexing of the database. There is a command to do the indexing. It is also for the maintenance. Uh, like sometimes WSOS may get corrupt, and there are indexes which connect different tables, and there are the indexes in the WSOS. So there is a command also for the maintenance which do the indexing and which links the data, and then it starts working. It's just the maintenance thing, but we do not check it. Sometimes it fails. We do the indexing. There is a script also. But declining, if you are declining and cleaning the updates, then this error doesn't comes up. Maximum runtime for the feature update, office updates, these are all default 60 minutes, 120 minutes. So we'll keep it as it is and we'll click on next. Then it says download full updates and download express installation. Do not check this option, otherwise it will download lot of data. Always as a best practice, only the first option. If you choose the second, it will download that update and also it will download the older updates which refer to this particular or any of the updates. So we always choose the first option. These are the classification of updates, critical, definition, feature, which can be managed by the WSUS. Security, tools, updates, upgrades. We will not choose any of them as of now. We will do it later. Next. Same with the products. We will not choose anything. This catalog is not yet updated. It will connect with internet, then it will update the catalog itself, then we will sync it. Okay. So click on next. Language, we choose English. Next. And then next. Close. So we have set up the service connection point. Now as we have set up a role, so there are few logs which we can check. There is a site comp. If you go to see program files, like for example this role is not set up or it is not working, it might be failing. So if it is installed properly or not, we can check the site comp log for any, not for the WSS, it's for the software update point. For any role that you are you know enabling on this SCCM server, site comp is the log file which you will be checking. Like you are creating some MP, reinstalling MP. There are individual log files for the MP, but for every role for the SCCM, there is a site comp manager. So we can check this log file, site comp.log. It says dropping some files to inboxes, site comp, right? So it is still uh, configuring the software update mode. I think it is configured now. It says synchronization complete. We have just installed this particular rule. We have just configured it, but if it is working or not, there is a different flow for that. We call it SECM WSUS sync. There are different logs, it has its own flow. We will discuss that particular thing tomorrow. As of now, we just, uh, made all the configurations. For a search for that software update point, software update point you can search. Basically, this log only shows if the role which we are configuring. So it says creating registry keys and all that, right? So with this we can see that it started this particular thing. It started some exe and executed successfully, right? And then it says installation successful. That means a role was installed successfully. It can fail, so we can check this particular log. Why is it failing? Okay, so software update point already exists on this. It also says that. So site is configured. Now we are ready to sync. There's a complete flow will be, I will be covering tomorrow. It will take some time, but we can, at least we are in the position we can start the sync. Okay, so if you go to software library, go to software updates, all software updates. Now there are no updates here, right? But we will sync it. Yeah, click on synchronize software updates. So it says, are you want to initiate the sync? We say yes. Okay, now it will not show anything here like if sync is running or not. For that you can check the monitoring part and then scroll down. There is a software update point sync status. So it says it is now synchronizing. Synchronization status is synchronizing WSO server. Synchronization status. It says synchronizing. Once it is completed, it will say completed. Okay. So we have to, at least for the new WSOS, we have to sync it 2 3 times. Then the catalog will update. What I'm trying to say that catalog will update. Let me show you. Go to administration. Go to sites. Click on sites. Then configure site components, software update point, software update point, second one. Hmm. Okay, so these are all the options that we configured here, right? Uh, Now go to classification will be the same. Go to products, scroll down, go to Windows. See if you are able to find Windows 10, Windows and Windows 11. Yeah, scroll down. But we need Windows 10, 1903 and later. And Windows 11 is also not there, right? Under Windows 11 you will not be able to find. That means that this catalog is not updated. So that's why we ran the blank sync. We did not configure anything, no classification, no product. It's a blank. So in the log also it will say it will not configure, it will not download or sync anything. That log I will show you tomorrow. So we have to run this sync 2 3 times. Okay, let's once it is completed, see if it is completed. Monitoring, go to monitoring. It is still running. Let's check one log file also. Then we will close. Go to Microsoft Configuration Manager folder. Close everything. Look for wsync mgr. Open it. So this is the main log file for the sync. If you can maximize it, it says WSUS synchronizing categories. Once it is completed, it will say synchronization completed. So it is still synchronizing categories. So we can check on the console also. We can check the log also. So this is the main log file for the sync. There are others also. We will discuss it once we discuss the flow. Okay. Hmm. So, but if there is any failure, we first check this log file only. So basically now what is happening? This SCCM instructed WSOS to sync the updates, right? It says synchronizing categories. Now the categories were not updated. It will update those categories and the products. Okay, it will update its catalog. Then it will look if there is anything to sync or not. Then those updates will come to WSOS and the updates will be synced from WSOS to SCCM. Then we will be able to find those updates on the SCCM console. Okay. So in order to summarize what we did, we first installed the WSOS. We already had SCCM, right? WSOS. Then we integrated it with SCCM with a software update point rule, and we initiated the sync from SCCM. SCCM will instruct WSOS to check for the updates online. Then those updates will be synced from WSOS to SCCM. So this is a little summary on that, but there are other logs also for the sync. Main log is this one. There are others also, which we'll check tomorrow. 8530. Okay. Go to this console, system status, no, monitoring only, system status, expanded component, or you can do the site status also. You will find there. So you can find the service connection point, software update point. Sorry, not the service connection point, software update point. So if there is any, these are all the status for this particular site. You can go to component status also. You can find here for MP like SMS underscore MP and then SMS underscore W sync manager is there. Hmm. Okay, so we'll discuss more on this. As of now,